Guy Fieri has built a multimillion-dollar food empire, but the real story behind his success, and the unexpected rules guiding his family, runs much deeper than the loud shirts, the spiky hair, and the showmanship that made him famous. At his oldest son Hunter's wedding in 2025, a long-kept family rule spilled out in a way that stunned guests. Guy believes in a strict zero inheritance philosophy. His kids get nothing unless they've earned 2 college degrees. No automatic access to restaurants, businesses, money, or legacy. The revelation made people see him not as the boisterous TV chef, but as a man forged by hardship, hustle, and a relentless belief in earning your place. Guy Ramsey Fieri was born in 1968 in Columbus, Ohio, and moved 2 years later to tiny Ferndale, California, where his parents raised him on plain health food, simple grains, simple proteins, and no sugar. Maybe it was that early blandness that made him crave the loud, bold flavors he would later become famous for. At 10, he built a 3-wheeled pretzel cart with his dad and sold hot pretzels for $0.25 apiece. He ran that cart for 6 years, even jumping into a Lake Tahoe dumpster once just to find the name of a supplier. By 14, he had saved over $3,000, and when his father's business faltered, he handed over half of it without hesitation. That sense of responsibility, of stepping up when it mattered, never left him. A dirt bike crash at age 12 nearly killed him and left a long scar down his torso. Recovering alone while his parents were abroad taught him how to push forward through fear and pain. In middle school, he worked at a crab shack washing dishes and absorbed everything he could from the cooks. In high school, he sold pizzas out of his garage and, after a humiliating breakup caused by skipping prom for a catering gig, threw himself even harder into food. Even the failed experiments became part of the legend. A French flambé gone wrong during an exchange student trip that filled a kitchen with smoke and got him grounded, or the custom skateboards he tried to sell at a county fair that cost him a painful $200 loss. Each misstep only sharpened his ambition. College took him to UNLV in 1986. He studied hotel management but got his real education from casino kitchens, buffets, and spice stations where he quietly memorized recipes others didn't want to share. When he blew up a dough experiment in a food science class, he salvaged his grade by writing a 20-page report on pretzel chemistry. Summers were spent running a hot dog stand that made $10,000 a season, until health inspectors fined him for sloppy equipment. Instead of folding, he rebuilt the stand from the ground up and turned it into a model of how a student business should operate. After graduation in 1990, several culinary schools rejected him, so he made his own path. He self-published a cheap cooking zine at Vegas flea markets, building a humble fan base one customer at a time. By 25, he scraped together enough to open his first restaurant, Johnny Garlic's, in Santa Rosa. During the recession, he slept in the back of the building to save money, cooking, cleaning, and hustling for customers. A second location and his now famous donkey sauce kept the dream alive. But the early years brought floods, lawsuits, inspection scares, and a partnership that eventually shattered. By 2019, every Johnny Garlic's was gone, but other big risks paid off. In 1997, a tiny local TV demo revealed just how strongly audiences responded to him, even as executives dismissed him. In 2006, his audition tape for the next Food Network star nearly got tossed until a casting director accidentally watched it. He won the show, launched Guy's Big Bite, and refused producers' demands to tone down his flavortown energy. That stubborn authenticity became his signature. As his fame grew, the strain did too. A producer once accused him of offensive comments, sparking a messy media storm that he denied and eventually settled. Long workdays pushed him to a collapse in 2014, forcing a hard reset on his lifestyle and marriage. Earlier in 2000, his nonstop grind had nearly destroyed his relationship with his wife, Lori, until therapy helped them rebuild. Without her, she handled operations, branding, and the unglamorous backbone of the family business. His empire might never have made it past the first restaurant. Loss reshaped him as well. In 2011, Guy's younger sister Morgan died of aggressive melanoma, leaving behind her 11-year-old son, Jules. Guy and Lori raised him as their own, moved their family to Santa Rosa, and supported him through school, internships, and eventually a music management career. Jules later completed a second degree in legal studies, working full-time while studying at night. Throughout the 2010s and 2020s, Guy built brand after brand, his charity foundation that raised millions for struggling restaurants, a winery that survived wildfire losses, a booming sauce line, a tequila company co-founded with Sammy Hagar, and the unstoppable diners, drive-ins and dives, which by 2025 had aired over 1,000 episodes and boosted hundreds of restaurants nationwide. But even with growing wealth, Guy felt the toll of anxiety he never recognized until speaking publicly about it in 2024. Through therapy, he developed the philosophy that later shaped his rule for his kids. Die broke. Not from spending recklessly, but from investing everything into values rather than bank accounts. So when Hunter and Ryder came of age, the expectations were clear. If they wanted any part of the empire, they needed 2 degrees first. Hunter earned his hospitality degree at UNLV and an MBA at Miami, built his own business, appeared on Guy's shows, and learned the ropes as an equal, not an heir. Ryder chose San Diego State over his dad's alma mater, drove a minivan by choice, and carved his own lane in sports and hospitality. Jules tackled 2 degrees and built a career in music and contract work. None of it came from shortcuts. At Hunter's wedding in 2025, the rule finally became public. Ryder's best man speech was so sharp and heartfelt that guests assumed AI wrote it until he confirmed every line was his own. The pride in that moment reflected everything Guy had hoped to pass down. It wasn't money, it was capability. As his businesses expanded into Asia, as his cookbook hit bestseller lists despite false plagiarism rumors, and as he voiced animated characters and handed shows like Guy's Grocery Games to Hunter, it became clear that his legacy was no longer just food or television. It was the world he built for his children to grow inside of, but not inherit without proving themselves first. Behind the sunglasses and the catchphrases, Guy Fieri's real story is a lifetime of falling down, getting up, burning out, rebuilding, and insisting his kids learn to do the same. The empire itself may be worth millions, but to him, the grind that built it is the only thing truly worth passing on.